All right, let's get started with our easy southern fried chicken. Again, what makes it easy is that we're using all the same cut, boneless, skinless chicken thighs. It just saves a lot of work and eliminates a lot of problems, as you'll see as we go here. Step one, we're going to marinate these in buttermilk, but we're going to spice them first. So I got some black pepper. That was about a tablespoon of black pepper. I got some beautiful sweet Spanish paprika. I put in a teaspoon of that. You see me salting them well. It's about a teaspoon and a half of salt. I gotta have some hot pepper, so I'm gonna put some cayenne in there, and other things. You can put white pepper, dry mustard. Make your own recipe. But these are the basics: some salt and some different peppers. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna cover this with buttermilk, just enough to coat, a cup or two. Make sure you shake it up. See, I started to pour this in, and I realized all the thin stuff was at the top. Oops. So then you give it a shake. See, live shaking, and then you pour it in nice and thick. All right, so what's different about this method a little bit, a lot of chefs actually just season the flour mix. They season it with the cayenne and the pepper and the salt and so forth. That's fine. We're going to do that too with some salt and pepper. But I like to get my cayenne and my paprika and other spices in to the actual marinade. I think it just the chicken will soak up more of that flavor, and you'll actually get a layer of seasoning underneath the crust, which I think is a little nicer. So anyway, this is my method. You're going to mix that around real well, make sure all the nooks and crannies are seasoned, and then put that in the fridge for 3 hours minimum. Some people put it overnight. I don't know if that's necessary, but at least 3 or 4 hours for good result. In fact, you can do it in the morning, and you come home at night, you're ready to fry. All right, so here we're going to dredge our marinated chicken thighs in seasoned flour. That's just salt and pepper I put in there. So I put about another, teaspoon and a half of black pepper, another teaspoon and a half or so of salt. Give it a good mix. And when you dredge these chicken thighs, I want you to get as much flour as possible on there. You want to make sure they're all completely coated. I want you to have a sheet pan ready with some flour on it, because what we're going to do is we're going to let these sit after we dredge them so it really sticks. All right, so I'm going to do maybe 2-3 thighs at a time. Again, I make sure they've been in the fridge at least 3 or 4 hours. And that buttermilk, actually, the acids tenderize that chicken a little bit. Very nice flavor and texture. So go ahead and plop them in the flour, and again, this is called dredging. Just means to coat it well with this flour. You want to use your hand, use your hand. I don't like to have my hand in the raw chicken and it gets all messy. I just use a tongue. All right, and again, I'm really poking it, I'm punching it, I'm mixing it, I'm turning it, I'm flipping it, and there you go. So I didn't shake off any of the excess. I just put it right on this pan. Just a lot of flour on there. You're going to shake that off before you put it in the oil, of course. But what I want to do there is just let it sit for about 20 minutes and just let that flour and buttermilk kind of get to know each other. And it will just make a nicer crust, as you'll see, and they'll come out nice and crispy. If you plop them right in the oil, not as good of a crust. So that's a 1/2 inch of canola oil on medium-high heat. When I thought it got hot enough so you can put your hand just over the top, you kind of feel the heat, put in a little bit of your coating there, and see how that's bubbling up. That oil's hot. All right, if it doesn't do much, let it go a little longer. Now, that was on medium-high to bring it up to temperature. As I add the chicken thighs in again, shake off the excess flour. You're going to have plenty stuck on there because you let it sit. Once I put these in, the temperature of the oil is going to come down. All right, we got to keep that oil nice and hot so these bubble nicely and fry well. So bring it up to a high temperature. Turn the gas up to high as you put these in. And once they start cooking for 3 or 4 minutes, then you can back it down to medium-high, and that's a good method. Okay, so I went up, in my pan at least, I went about 7 minutes on one side, okay, on medium, again, after I brought it back to temperature. And because we're using boneless, skinless, these cook pretty quick. I know regular fried chicken, half hour sometimes in the oil, but these cook really quick, which is nice. They cook very evenly because they're the same thickness. And I went about 7 or 8 minutes on that side, and that was done. I got my oven on warm because I'm going to do 2 batches. If you had 2 frying pans, you could do them all at once, I guess. But look how beautiful that is. So put that in a warm oven until you're ready to serve. And, hey, the rest you probably know. Some nice buttermilk mashed potatoes. We have a demo on the site how to make this homemade chicken gravy. Why are you using that powder stuff? Come on. All right, make it fresh. And that was delicious. Now, I didn't want to get in trouble. Hey, where's your green vegetable? You got to have, there you go. Got some parsley. So, anyway. Really nice, kind of a quicker, easier version to do fried chicken at home. again, the key is just using those boneless, skinless chicken thighs. They stay very moist. They're very flavorful. Very easy to cook, as you saw. And there you go. So anyway, give that a try and enjoy.